Hey guys, welcome to Zero to Hero. I'm MTDestroyer, but for the purposes of this podcast, you can just call me Matt C.
And I am Matt M. That shouldn't be confusing for anyone at all.
No, Matt C, Matt M.
And we are your digital entrepreneurship specialists.
Specialists.
Yeah, well, I think we're special.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go, right? So we just wanted to do a little introduction here and talk about who we are and sort of why we put this blog together. We've known each other a very long time.
Yeah, it's been almost our whole lives, right? So
yeah, we probably should have done the math before we started recording.
Yeah,
this.
maybe.
So it's been like 20 years. We'll go with
20,
it. More?
No,
22?
Probably 22 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a long time. We were neighbors.
We were. We lived right across the street from each other in glorious small town America.
Ooh, love small town America.
Love small town America. So we get all the Republican listeners now, right?
Oh, there you go.
We've been doing entrepreneurial ventures probably 21 of those 22 years.
Yeah, it's amazing some of the things that we were able to accomplish when we were like real little, and it's only scaled since we.
That's true. That's true. I think probably our first entrepreneurial venture was running the hose in my old broken down driveway and attempting to build a dam. I think that was our first venture.
Well, the key word there is definitely broken down driveway, because there was potholes and cracks, and that's what was the interesting part, was getting the water like around those divots.
Yeah.
And that was funny.
Yeah, they were not calling us in to build any real dams, though, unfortunately.
I still don't know why you're not an engineer.
That's a great question. That's a great question. Maybe one day, we'll see.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
but that was definitely sort of the start of our entrepreneurial journey. And as we went on, we tried many new ventures, some of which we'll talk about, and that will come up in sort of future episodes. But we've learned a few things along the way.
Yeah, just a few.
Just a few, mostly Matt.
Well, no, you've learned a lot too.
I'm more here for comedic backdrop, I think. But
that's not bad. We can have a third person that's here for like the more serious stuff, because like I'm just kind of like, I talk too fast and I'm a little goofy. You're the comedic backdrop, and then we have like a real serious guy.
All right, that could work.
Maybe.
Right.
Guess
what do you think? Listeners, put it down in the comments.
No, but I think I'm assuming what you're about to say, I'm just going to cut you off, is we learn so much and we do so much that it's really cool to be able to talk about it from the other side. Not the learning side, but the side where we know what we've done and we understand why it worked or why it didn't work. So being able to share that with people that are just starting in these topics, or just starting their entrepreneurial adventure, I think that's a privilege more than anything else.
Absolutely. And I think sharing information is definitely one of our major thrusts here. It is our hope that we will save you many, many, many hours in trying things and failing, and trying things and failing, because we've done a lot of that.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely think we want to share some of our informational knowledge with you. All right, so Matt, do you want to talk for a minute about how this podcast came to be?
Yeah, that's actually a good talking point, Matt. I think that this podcast really came to be because as listeners, so you guys, what you're hearing, this is what Matt and I do when we see each other normally. Like this isn't weird for us. This isn't forced for us. We sit down and brainstorm stuff, or I tell Matt about my latest project and he tells me about how he's going to conquer the world through whatever club or organization he just made his way to the presidency, right?
It tends to be something like that. It's definitely an informal conversational process.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of our conversations have sparked ideas.
Yeah, ideas, and they're technical in nature.
Sure.
You have the uncanny ability to be able to understand like anything that I throw at you. So I have an engineering background. I just got my master's in chemical engineering. Matt is the completely other spectrum, which is law. So
I have a bachelor's in political science with a minor in entrepreneurship, and I am on my way to a JD.
So he's like not even really in the science realm, but I find that I can sit down and explain something highly technical to him, and he's right there with me, which kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm not going to lie, but
it's because Matt's an excellent teacher and he's underselling himself.
Oh, wow. But anyway, the fact is that we do this anyway. So, it all comes back to the fact that we can share this. We can help you guys. We can help ourselves to cement the fact that we know what we're doing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think we're very open to suggestion as well. So this is not exactly the first time either of us has made or been on a podcast. But we definitely are still new to the process. So we are definitely hoping to learn from our listeners how we can improve. If you guys have topics that interest you or things you want to learn about, we are happy to go research and become experts. But it's definitely our focus to walk someone who is a total beginner through the process of getting started in what we're calling digital entrepreneurship. So the building of a business and a brand and your whole entrepreneurial venture through the usage of the internet.
And in addition, developing the skills required to do that. Because, it's one thing to understand how to do it, but when it comes down to it, it's the little things like learning how to design your logo so that it's catchy and so that it can, the marketing aspect then. And there's so many facets of it. It's such a complex thing that, that's why it's nice to have this podcast all in order and you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because I think the digital entrepreneur is a renaissance man. You used to be able to be, I think small business entrepreneurs, this was always true. You had to be a little of everything. But I think entrepreneurship has maybe veered away from that a little bit. But in the digital world, in the world where you're using the internet and its resources and software, and also hardware, considering we are using a mic to make this right now.
It's true. It's true.
But using technology in order as the platform and the purpose of your business is definitely something that requires you to have a really broad skill set of understanding marketing, understanding branding.
Yeah, sure.
And at the same time, understanding, a little bit of coding. And you're not going to ever probably be a specialized expert in one thing if you're a digital entrepreneur.
I completely agree.
You're going to end up learning a lot of everything, and then when something is beyond your skill level, you're either going to up your game to that level, or you're going to find someone who's able to. And the internet is not just the internet, but the world is full of graphic designers and software engineers and people that build websites professionally.
And it's the people that can put that together with their other skills that are the entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's definitely those people. It's definitely the people that are able to have that business savvy, but understand that the rules for being an entrepreneur in the digital world are different from those in, for lack of a better term, the real world. The outer net.
That puts such an awful spin on entrepreneurs.
It really does, doesn't it? Yeah. It's all imaginary. No, it's definitely true. This is not a brick and mortar sort of operation, and it doesn't behave like one.
No, I agree. It's interesting too to look at the. It's interesting to look at the ideas that you can come up with when you start developing the skills. Because I don't know if you feel the same way, but at least for me, I come up with my best ideas just after I've learned something new and I combine it with something I've already known.
Sure.
Do you know? Yeah.
And usually it's right after the death of one of our ideas. So you're going to come to this process of digital entrepreneurship and you're going to be like, my famous one was I was like, a teleprompter app. We need a teleprompter app. And what I discovered was there are 11 teleprompter apps, or however many there are. And you're going to run up against a lot. The internet is not brand new anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of people have come before and a lot of people have had good ideas.
Yeah.
But there's a huge space to explore and innovate on those ideas.
I think it's definitely, I would argue, well, hang on. You know what? I was about to argue something, but now I'm kind of going back on it. I was going to say I would argue that it's harder than ever to create original content on the internet or otherwise,
Sure.
which I still think is somewhat true. But that being said, we really are in a digital or technological revolution right now.
Sure.
In terms of, historically, right, chronologically, we're still in the full swing of a technological revolution. So entrepreneurship is definitely still alive. It's definitely still possible. And even if it's harder to create original content, it doesn't mean that it can't be done.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you run into the age-old problem of there's nothing new under the sun. There's everything is stealing a little bit from the things that came before it. And that's definitely true. And it's definitely true of the internet. But with the growth of services and tools that are available, YouTube now versus YouTube when we were 10, which was longer ago than I care to think about, is a much different animal. And the growth of the ability that services and goods on the internet can give you really allows you to do things that have never been done before.
Yeah.
So don't get discouraged as we go through our first 3 episodes. It will undoubtedly be a little discouraging, and I think it definitely was for us. We have been doing this sort of digital entrepreneurship in one way, shape, or form for probably 6 or 7
I would argue
years.
More than that. Remember, so when was the Phoenix Projects? When was that?
That must have been...
That was in high school, so it was at least 8 years ago.
So a while.
It
has
so
definitely been a while.
It was a while, and that wasn't even our first project. So the point being, we've been, like you said, in one way, shape, or form, we've been doing this sort of developmental entrepreneurial work for a long time.
Yeah, and don't get us wrong. This has not been either of our full-time jobs.
God,
no. we are both in doctoral programs. Life definitely can get in the way, but one of the nice things I think about digital entrepreneurship is you can cut some time out for it.
Yeah. And especially because that's the kind of people that we are. If we're passionate about something, which we are, we're passionate about everything. We make the time for it, and we even after working a 12-hour day, you still found the time to come over here and record a podcast with me. So we make the time to do the things that we want to do, and that's what makes us good entrepreneurs. As we do the things we want to do, and we do the things that we're passionate about.
Absolutely, absolutely, and all entrepreneurship has to be grounded in that. So we will not sit here and claim to be the experts.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination, but we are on our zero to hero journey, and I think we're hopefully going to be able to bring you along on that journey and share what we've learned.
Yeah, and I would say for you guys that are maybe skeptical and saying like, well, I haven't heard of either of these guys. Like, it's true. We don't have any like widely successful projects or anything. That's not what we're saying. It's just the fact is we put our heart, we put our souls into these things and these projects that are like our brainchild, right? And more than that, on a personal level, when I was kind of doing all this stuff, this is all just personal interests that I have that I expand on. I never had anyone to give me any direction in being an entrepreneur. So I think this podcast is invaluable for that reason. It gives you, as the listener, a starting point from which you can base your future ideas and inventions or otherwise, right? Like,
absolutely.
It's not just you saying, I'm good at Photoshop. I wonder if I can start a logo design business. It's you saying, well, I heard on the podcast, this is what they did, that they tried it, and this is what worked for them when they did it. This is what didn't work for them. You're able to learn our lessons without having to experience them.
And one of the biggest things I think going into any entrepreneurial venture is you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds like a tautology, sort of an old cliche statement, but it's very true.
That's funny.
And it is.
Funny.
And you don't know how to put together a business legally. That is something, and I will say here, I'm not dispensing legal advice, but I can, we will go over how you actually put together a business.
Generically, of course.
Right, generically how you file if you want to put an LLC together. We'll go over that.
As well as why it's useful to put together an LLC.
Sure, exactly. And we'll go over the multiple elements that go into this. We were talking earlier off air about people talk about building a website, and everyone sort of thinks that building a website is like you go to this magical website tree and you pick your website off of it, and then you have a website. And even if that were true, and it is not, and there will be multiple episodes to deal with the long and
arduous
process of really putting together a website. Even if that's true, even once you have a website, so what?
Yeah, it's true. There's so much more to that. That's not even half of the battle. No. That's 1/10 of the battle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, lots of people have a website. Website is not easy, but it's not that challenging to put together. And once you have put it together, what do you do with it? What's your purpose? How do you build it into something that is a business?
Yeah, and being a business, you don't always want to look for how to monetize things or benefit off of things, but I mean, it certainly comes with the territory of being an entrepreneur is having the ability to understand how to monetize things and how to make a business out of it is what it comes down to, right?
Sure, absolutely. And or to, accentuate your existing business, or we were talking about nonprofits off air earlier too, how to build a website that matches your nonprofit.
That's true.
So people can find it. Because what you might not realize is that at this stage in the internet, a lot of the names that you're going to think of are already taken.
That's so true.
You're going to have to be creative about getting around that. Oh God, it's
awful, isn't it? True. It's awful. Except for the ones that are real funny are always still available, like Kids on Fire XXX.
Oh, is it really?
Kidsonfire.xxx.
Oh,
that's you can buy that domain. Go ahead, go buy that domain name.
Yeah, and give us credit.
But I don't think I want credit.
Well, I was looking at the
sorry.
There's the game, the GAYME, which is like a gay Cards with Humanity, and it's
I've never heard of that.
It's gay.me. It's gay.me.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So they did that. The nonprofit we did our own family. We did our own .family.
.family. That's good.
So it's really they're really creative ways.
Conquer the .net.
Sure, and we will get into all of these.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's
because this is the kind of stuff you'll learn how to do. But I guess the point that I was sort of driving towards. I've completely forgotten, and we will we will get back to it in a second. But I mean, if you were trying to take something for your nonprofit site, and you want to make it so it's people can find it, so that you have the name, so that you've created the icon and the logo. You want to be able to run the website. You want to be able to have the ability to accept donations that go straight into a PayPal.
Just to customize the website. You said make it look
right. And so all of those things are going to be things you have to think about.
Yeah.
How do you position yourself? Where do you advertise?
And learn how to do.
Sure.
In addition to understanding the best methodology or the best practices,
Definitely.
you need to learn how to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's the thing you can use for Twitter that helps you with the followers?
Crowdfire.
Crowdfire. Yeah. If you use Twitter for your business or your nonprofit or whatever your organization may be, or even for yourself, and you don't know about
Crowdfire
services like Crowdfire, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the stuff where you don't know what you don't know.
But that's fair, and I guess that's why something like this could be helpful, because otherwise, how are you going to know about stuff like that?
Right.
So you listen to people that have done it and then have... No, I agree. Actually, now I kind of wish that this podcast had been around when I was...
and that's sort of my hope, is that, like, I'm trying to think back to where we were and the things that I wish we wouldn't have had to spend the hours that we had to spend to learn.
Now, that being said, I will say on a certain level, there's something to be said about teaching yourself how to do something.
Sure.
And so in us explaining how to, like, our failures and our pitfalls and et cetera, I don't necessarily think that you should just take our word for everything. I think that if you have an interest in website development, sure, follow our tutorials, follow our teachings or whatever, but also, take some time for yourself. Learn why it works and learn what works for you, because just because we say it, that doesn't mean it's a concrete fact.
Definitely.
I think I would argue that marketing in general and understanding social behaviors and social interactions with your site, that's something that's kind of specific for every site.
Yeah, and you'll definitely have to learn that. And I think it's even better with something like HTML. Yeah. So, we can talk to you about learning HTML, but learning HTML is a process you actually have to go through.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely give you the resources, the information, and then get out there and entrepreneur.
Get out there and entrepreneur.
Yeah, that can't be our tagline. That's not a good tagline.
Get out there and entrepreneur.
Yeah, that is not. We're gonna scratch that one.
Wait, is it weird that I kind of like it?
You liked it? Get out there and entrepreneur.
I kind of did. No, I
take a vote. We'll do a vote.
Do a vote.
We'll do a poll. All right,
Okay,
we'll put a poll.
We'll put a poll.
It'll be in the description.
What's the other? I thought our tagline was digital entrepreneurship.
I guess that is our tagline. Yeah.
I like that better.
All right. I like that better too. I'm not voting. I'm not at all voting for the other one.
Okay, I'm not voting. I'm not voting for that either. I like this better.
All right. Any last words you want to throw out there to our loyal listeners?
No, I thought that was really good. I think we covered everything that an intro should cover. So, to that, I'll let you do the honors of closing it up.
Great. So if you have any thoughts, ideas, anything you want to throw out, episodes, topics you want us to cover, anything like that, feel free to add it in the comments. And we are looking forward to talking with you soon.
Last thing, I want to add one thing is if you are enjoying these podcasts or you think you might, consider subscribing to the channel because it means a lot to us creators and it kind of just motivates us to keep creating. So that's my 2 cents.
All right.
Till next time.
Till next time.